Right. So welcome to the first part one of 3 for the 10 God series. Today's sharing will be on the 7 killings. So as usual, you have your chat. You can always key something to it or ask questions straight away if I didn't read your chat as it is. Right. So without ado, let us move on to looking into how to read a chart. And today's primary focus on the first part of the 3 parts will be on the location, the strength, the grading of the presence of 7 killings. Now, to the layperson, 7 killings, of course, is very scary with the word killing. And technically, even though it may be the element that can kill you, but it's primarily known called 7 killing because it's technically the 7th element from the day master. Therefore, when you have your day master, that is you, then the second element would then be your rock wealth, then followed through to your hurting officer, to your eating god, then to your direct wealth, indirect wealth, to your direct officer, to your indirect officer. So sometimes other literature is called indirect officer, 偏官, or sometimes known also as the 7 killing. So it's something called the official or partial official staff. So in short, that would be the element that controls the day master. So as we would expect, 7 killing is the element, 7 killing. 7K is an officer stars that controls the self. So as it is controls the self, it would then be like I thought what no? It's all is mute, right? Sorry. Okay. Right. So here you have your 7 killing. 7 killing is the one that controls your day master, the one that controls the day master. And it has the same polarity. So same polarity. Right. So this okay. So as we look into the following, of course, we need to know that for all these are your day master, these are your 7 killing. Now for those, just key in very quickly into the chat. I just want to see if you can recognize your own 7 killing from your own chart. So very simple, just type there what are your 7 killing, what represents 7 killing in your chart, as it is. So it's always the same polarity, the one that controls your day master. Okay, very good. Yes, thank you. So first of all, the recognition of your 7 killing. Now here today's sharing will also be from a particular literature that I relied on from Wu Wenqi, and there will also be some Chinese here. The reason why I place it here is to demonstrate the original literature or text which I relied upon. And now, of course, they're also translated. So if there's anything that's lost in translation, then of course you shall also share with me, as it is. Okay, so as usual, what does 7 killing represents? In a way, it represents the element that restrains you, the element that controls you. Nobody can you can't read Chinese. I also cannot read Chinese, so nowadays we just have to rely on translation a lot. Hey, now the element that controls you, we will find that sometimes it is more often than not considered to be a necessity, especially for the yang elements. Now, yang elements, for example, rainwater. The rainwater is like a body of ocean, a body of water. And water will flow aimlessly unless there is boundary. Therefore, rainwater, they must need the Wu Earth. They need. So Wu Earth is one of the necessities, one of the useful gods the Yongshen that is needed for water. Otherwise, water might uh, might might suffer from depression, might suffer from mental illnesses if there is insufficient earth to actually controls the rainwater. Therefore, we do find that this is a sentimental control, even though the basic general understanding of seven killing is unfavorable. So usually the first impression is that seven killing is unfavorable generally, the first impression. But somehow for Yang Water, that is not the first impression. That is itself useful, itself necessary and useful for it to be as well. Apart from that, we don't find that other much would be actually technically useful. We also find that Pink Fire Day Master would also welcome the seven killing, because when the sun travels across the ocean, there's a reflection on the surface, and that reflection brings prestige or glory to the Pink Fire Day Master. And therefore, here we find that the Pink Day Master would welcome the rainwater as well. As we look into the Jia Wood Day Master, the Yang Wood Day Master, Yang wood to be useful may need to be forged by metal, and therefore, but however, here there are conditions applied, because wood that is alive, wood that is rooted and wet, live wood will feel tremendous pain when it faces the axe. However, if the wood is dry wood, unrooted, then this 7K will be used. So more often than not, we find that for the Yang Day Masters, the seven killing can be welcome. That is not so for the Yin Day Masters. Because for the Yin Day Masters, we have, like for example, the Yi Wood, to which of course the Sin Metal, the image you can have is a pair of scissors cutting the flower or cutting the root of the plant. And therefore that represents tremendous pain to the Wood Day Master. Kueh water. Kueh water would be water that can snuff out a candlelight, more so if the candle is unrooted and also born out of seasoned and weak. Therefore, we find that this is not something that would be welcoming. And neither does the sin metal welcome the use of the ting fire, for the fire burns this metal to crisp. Right, so we do find that as we explore the seven killing, we may also want to look at it from the strength of the day master and whether generally they welcome seven killing or not. Right, so we'll start from there. Okay, now let's move along to what would be the key literature for seven killing. Seven killing or official killing, Quan or Sha, essentially speaks of the characteristics of management, leadership, restraint, promotion, punishment, sense of justice, control, discipline. And the key characteristics of seven killing is that seven killing is primarily charismatic, authoritative, energetic, ambitious. We also find that on to the other side, it could also be very impulsive, brash, and it can also be very fierce. And usually, when a person has seven killing in them, usually people tend to has a sense of fear in them because they speak with authority. They speak with that fierceness in them, as it is. And generally, if we look into the broader spans from a social perspective, 7K is essentially somebody who has authority over you, somebody who encourages you, advises you, inspires you, could even oppress you, teaches you, and so on. So all this belongs to the scope of 7K. So your teacher is a 7K, your boss could also be a 7K. But these are sometimes indirect bosses. And so to have 7K in you is to be charismatic, is to be robust, is for you to have courage and full of energy. And 7K to other considerations, especially for the so-called female, that would be the husband's lover, the husband's at time, the woman's husband or lover or boyfriend. It could also represent police officer, bosses, or basically a tyrant and so on. Now, generally, people with 7K presence in them tends to have affinity with jobs that are of high risk by nature, high octane, high adrenaline, because these are the representation of what 7K represents. And so let's look into a few charts and to consider how 7K can be found. Now, first of all, let's take this person by the name of Tony Hawk. Now, first of all, as you look into his chart, as usual, we will start with the day master. So this Tony Hawk is a run water day master, and the season he was born in the season of the snake. What is the season for snake? The season for snake is summer. Very good. Therefore, water, run water born in summer is weak. So therefore, this is a weekday master. Season represents 80% to the grading of the strength of the day master. Therefore, this is a weekday master. However, one can say that it is rooted. It is rooted. And where can you find the rooting? The rooting can be found in the run water, which is here. But this rooting is in death and emptiness. This is a death and emptiness pillar, and it's a hidden stem that is quite a distant from the thing. So therefore, we look into the distance and the grading. So despite the rooting, generally this is a weekday master. It's a weekday master. All right, so we'll take it from there. That's the first thing that we observe, a weekday master. Okay, so now for today, we will now focus on the 7 killing. So what is the element that is the 7 killing for run water? And so that would be the Wu Earth. So you can find the Wu Earth that is here, and that would be the 7 killing. And this Wu Earth is also rooted into the 7 killing here, and also here. So we can appreciate that this is a weekday master with a very strong rooted 7 killing on the year stem. And this represents the person's fasa. This represents the first impression that people see. This is called the first impression. And this impression is rooted. Therefore, it also represents a true impression. So the first impression is also the true impression. So this person, if you see this person, you see that this person, not necessarily fierce looking, but definitely energetic, definitely strong, and full of leadership, energetic. It can be fear if you like. It can be fear, but not necessarily fear all the time. You maybe in an office environment, you could see it as being hardworking. That's all. You can see it as being a very demanding person. All right, maybe bold and daring. So not necessarily fierce, but fierce can be, of course. Not necessary, but yep, it can be, yeah, as it is. Because this 7 killing is a strong 7 killing. So it's a strong 7 killing, first impression and true impression. And anyway, Tony Hawk is well known for being a professional skateboarder. He's an entrepreneur, owner, and a pioneer of some vertical type of skateboarding. And so this is high risk, high octane, high adrenaline rush. So therefore, Tony Hawk has a 7K fasa. That would be his position. Now that's how we look at this chart. And so he has the propensity, he has the affinity to do this, to do things like that. and he can be successful all the same. And now we take a look into the next person by the name of Robbie Madison. Robbie Madison, motorbike stunt performer. So high risk motorcycle. And of course, if you look into his chart, this is now Robbie Madison is a Water Day Master, born in the month of the goat. Now again, what is the season of goat? The season of goat is summer, end of summer. Therefore, again, this is yet another water day master born in summer. The person is weak. I wouldn't know its hour, so it's unrooted for the time being. So weak and unrooted. And now, again, this is a Kuei water. So the 7th killing of a Kuei water would be the Chi Earth. And this Chi Earth is a strong Chi Earth. It's a strong Chi Earth. But of course, discounted because of death and emptiness. Therefore, the grading of the strength is weaker a bit. Not as strong as the one that, but nonetheless as it is. But here we consider that this represents structure. So this represents structure. So the structure for this person represents the core attribute or the core personality of the person. So this person also have a strong personality of a 7 killing, very daring to take risk, very willing to take high so-called the kind of adventurous path as well. Therefore, that's where we have a 7 killing structure that the person has. Right. So now let's take a look into yet another one as we move along. We now have Sean Roger, former professional snowboarder, 3 times Olympian gold medalist. So again, as a snowboarder, these are all high risk, high octane, some kind of a sports or profession. Now we have a Keng Day Master. A Keng Day Master born in the month of the monkey, Shen. And once again, what is the season of the monkey? Autumn. Monkey is autumn, and metal born in the month of metal day master born in autumn is pig. Therefore, the Keng Day Master is pig, and the Keng Day Master is rooted. Partial rooting from the sin metal here, which is a little bit. Therefore, there's a little bit more of a partial rooting that we can actually see as well. Yeah, as it is. Right. Therefore, here we have a very strong day master, and 7 killing. 7 killing would be represented by the pink fire. And this 7 killing happens to be rooted. So 7 killing on both the year step and the month step. Pink fire, and of course weak but rooted, slightly on the spot. And so once again, we have a 7 killing fasa with a little bit of rooting even to the 7 killing month itself. So one would consider that this person would have both the 7 killing fasa and also appearing on the month. Alright, so here we identify people and where their 7 killings would be located, and it represents. Now, traditionally in ancient Chinese, the use of the Pakchi when reading, 7 killing traditional role will be for the military. So there is recommendation for anyone with a 7 killing structure to be great war generals. And here one of the most famous war generals throughout history, Napoleon Bonaparte. So Napoleon Bonaparte, this will be his chart. And this person is a Chia Day Master. As a Chia Day Master, number 1, born in the month of the monkey, autumn. Chia is weak. So therefore, this is a weak day master. It's a very weak day master. And you can find that the person is there rooting? Is the person rooted? The person as a very minor rooting here. Okay, so yes, the person is rooted, but born out of season, weak, and the rooting is by distance only in the hour, so quite weak, quite weak. So it's a weekday master, but now let's look into the 7 killing. So what is the 7 killing for a day master? The 7 killing will be in the form of the X, the Keng metal, which is the 7K. Right, so therefore here, and this is the main element for the monkey month, which is the Keng Day Master. So therefore, Napoleon Bonaparte is a weak Jia Wood Day Master with a 7 killing structure. And traditionally, people with 7 killing structures are recommended or are suitable for the military. So that's it. So here we have Napoleon Bonaparte with a structure. So this would be how we consider the kind of path that would make him successful. And then this would be also the king. Now, traditionally, of course, if you look into also during the Tang Dynasty as well, the Jia is always represents to be the king, the king. That's also the Chiwantun Jia, which is where the king is represented by the Jia wood. The representation is there. One thing is to understand why is because the 7 killing is a metal 7 killing. And of all the elements, metal is the one that kills. Metal is the one that is forged like a weapon. Therefore, of all the types of 7 killing, the Jia 7 killing is the Keng 7 killing. Right, so this will be the 7th structure. Now, speaking of the Tang Dynasty as well, we could also have, but this one, of course, is the Yuan Dynasty, Yongchen. During this period, the 4th emperor of the Qing Dynasty from Manchu. We also find that for this person, this is a Ting Day Master. A Ting Day Master born in winter is weak. Is there routing? Can we find routing for the Day Master? Yes, it is rooted over to here. So nonetheless, it is weak, but it is rooted. And of course, born right in the season of 7 killing, this would be right at the core. Right at the core, this is a strong, definitely the structure. In fact, right, there's only one element. So therefore, this would be the 7 killing structure. Very, very clear. Very, very clear that there's a 7 killing structure that you can see here as well. Right. And so for emperors, rulers, for tyrants, a 7 killing structure is usually one that is expected to make them great. They're born to rule, and these are some of the more famous 7 killing structures that we have. But now, so step number 1, we look into where the 7 killing is, or whether the 7 killing is hidden, whether the 7 killing is revealed on the stem, has a facade or has a structure, and that dominates the person's personality. And now let's take a look into the next area where we look into what we call sitting on 7K, sitting on 7K. So sitting on 7K just means just the pillar itself. Now we just look at the pillar itself. As we look at the pillar itself, this is where all the stems will sit on the branches, and the branches represents the 7 killing. Therefore, these are all the sitting on 7 killing pillars. So for example, for the Jia wood, we have the Keng, so the Keng Day Master. Therefore, Jia Shen is sitting on 7 killing. It sits on 7. The Yi wood will sit on the Sin metal. Therefore, the Yi Yu is also sitting on 7 killing. For the Wu Earth, this will be the Jia wood controlling the Wu Earth, and of course, Yi Ma controlling to your Ji Earth. So therefore, these are all the 7 killing structures that you have. And then of course for the oh sorry. Here for the keng, it will be on the sub. It will be on the sub. Then I have to share that's why I have to highlight. I have to highlight. Because here if you can you try to find another one that is better than this? That's why some of these seven killing structures are special a bit. Can you find another keng? Another keng that sits on it? Can you find? That will be the question. Yeah. And for the sin, this will be okay. We have to find. Because why? What are the official stars for metal? What are the official stars for metal? Fire, isn't it? Now, as you know, fire, what is the peak of fire? The peak of fire is the horse. And then the other fire is the snake. But the thing about fire elements is that horse is yang, but the element is ting fire. And for snake, which is yin, the element is ping fire. Therefore, we don't have pillar that sits on that 7 key. Special, isn't it? Special. Right. Then we come back to the run water with your Wu Earth, with your Qi Earth controlling it as well. And now we will find out that what will be the officer stars for the fire. The fire would be the water. And of course, water, what do we have? We have the rat. We have the rat and we have the pig. The pig is yin, but beneath it is yang. Rat is yang, but inside is yin. And so for that, we find that there's no sitting. So these are where the special pillars come. So at the end of the day, we find that the pink, the tink, the keng, and the sint doesn't have, they don't have pillars. They're sitting on 7 killing pillars. Hope you can see where it goes. As it is. Right, so as you recognize all these pillars, so not just do we just look for it, we can also find whether the pillar itself is a sitting on 7 killing pillar itself. Therefore, that is also another pillar that's full of strong energy. So we take a look into another famous war general of contemporary general pattern during World War II. And so this is a Keng Day Master, a Keng Day Master born in the month of the pig. What is the season for the pig? Winter. And end of winter, metal is weak. Metal is weak. Is this person rooted? Can we find rooting? Yep. There's a minor rooting that is here, as it is. And now where do we find the 7 killing? Where do we find 7 killing? We can find 7 killing over here. Therefore, we can find some 7 killing over here. Over here. So this is the 7 killing structure on the snake that represents it as well. Yeah. But not just we look into a tiny hidden. So if you just go through what we did just now, then we will just find 7 killing is just a very small hidden element on the hour step. But again, let's look into the Yi-Yu. The Yi-Yu is here. And then let's take a look into what else do we want to take a look into? If you take a look into its if you look into the other pillars as well, we can see that water controls fire. That officer. and fire controls metal, and fire controls metal. So if you can look at this chart, we can find that number one, if you look into the year chart, metal controls wood, and this chart, water controls fire. Fire controls metal, and fire controls metal into this chart. But these two are direct. And so this find that this chart is not a super vibrant chart, but it has a very unique configuration that all the branches controls all the steps into that one part. Therefore, here we have a pillar sitting on the 7 kidney as well. Right, so and anyway, I think there's a little bit of an error. Only the year pillar sits on your office, but the rest are also sitting on officer. They're all sitting on the officer. So all stamps sitting on officer, making it quite a very a very special chart to a person. And so so for this is where the author put there that when the self is weak, I mean, when your self is weak, then what is useful is for you to use is the element of goat blade and the element of eating god. Therefore, these are the two useful ones because eating god will control the officers, and Rockwealth is the goat blade that will sits on, that will be on its 7K itself. It sits on the 7. And therefore, this will be the part whereby Jared Patton has quite a very good configuration, making him very suitable to be in the army, very suitable to manifest these so-called officer life, the life of an officer through and throughout his career, all this. Yeah. All right. Okay, so this will be just looking into how we may also look into sitting on 7K pillars. So these are the pillars. Don't take too much effort to go and memorize all these things. Not necessary. All you just need to do is just to remember the 5 elements, and that will be good by itself. Okay, now here, sitting on 7 killing. The thing about 7 killing is it is associated with the indirect officers, the criminals, the mafia boss, the gangsters, the triad. And therefore, these are people also represented by 7. One of the more famous ones, or infamous ones, of about 100 years ago was Al Capone. So Al Capone, notorious during the Prohibition era in the US. And so here, once again, we have Ewood Day Master, and this Ewood Day Master sits on 7K. So therefore, this is sitting on 7K structure. Is that 7K also rooted? In fact, let's move to the next thing that I will also do. Can we count? Let's do some counting here. How many 7Ks do you find in Al Capone, the infamous gangster of the Prohibition era? How many 7Ks can you find in this person? There's 1 here, there's 2 here, 3 here, and that's 4. Oh. Right. So for us to appreciate the difference between a gangster, a war general, and whether a person live a life of sports or emperor, now here comes to where we want to start to consider how the counting begins to work. How the counting begins. Okay. What happens when self is weak and 7 killing is strong? And what happens if 7 killing is too strong? And once again, as we study Pachi, we always want something that is balanced. We do not want something that is too strong, because once 7 killing is too strong, This may be a follower chart. This may be somewhat risky. Now, for many of us who know, 7 killing does represent accidents. It does represent injuries. Therefore, these are some of the risks that happens when 7 killing becomes predominant in a person's chart itself. Therefore, we will look at it from the person being weak and prone to some of the illnesses that we can go itself, as it is. All right, so now let's understand, if you have a 7 killing boss, if you have a 7 killing person that you have to liaise with, what would be their key approach in life? What would be their key way of thinking, as it is? Now, both 7 killing and direct officers are elements that brings them to managerial role. So chances are, 7 killing is known to be what we know as the general star, leadership role. And the difference between a 7 killing and a direct officer, even though both of them have leadership roles, 7 killing enjoys competition. So if you would like to impress a 7 killing, if you would like to be in the good books of a 7 killing, challenge the person. But make sure you lose lah. Don't win, don't win, you must lose. But you must challenge. You challenge the person. Because 7 killing welcomes challenge. That is, to them that's where they see honor. That's where they see not money lah. These people are not the money type one. You try to give them money, they will smell you out as being someone who tries to bribe them. You will lose them. So therefore, that's not them. You challenge them. Okay, as it is. Okay, because they are very skillful in power play. Therefore, they like to think. They like to be cunning. They like to play strategic games. They like war games, kind of thing. So therefore, if it's proper and authorized, then this is where they can display their challenge. So this would be what the difference between 7 killing and direct officer. Direct officer prefers cooperation. Direct officer prefers peaceful ways to negotiate. 7 killing sees strength. Therefore, they recognize and they accept strength. If anything, 7 killing are people who would appreciate or they can support corporal punishment. To them, they are more pragmatic in the work because they do understand that might is right, strength is needed. And if the 7 killing is unfavorable, if the element is an unfavorable element, therefore this person becomes too cunning and will immediately jump into action and therefore becomes unpredictable. So again, in order to trap a 7 killing is the same thing to challenge the person and win. This time, this is not you wanting to be in the good books of a 7 killing. Now it is you who wants to defeat a 7 killing. And so it's the same thing, challenge. But of course, if the person is at his weak element, then it is very likely that you would win the game. So that is the one way to approach 7 killing, power and challenge. Because they are born to be that way. They are born to fight. Alright, now just like what we did the other session, let's now look into counting. Again, just like what I mentioned the other day, be very careful about counting. We don't do mere counting for the sake of counting, but counting does represent how the chart is eventually read. And Chi, of course, means that there are 8 characters. So when you count 7 killing, the maximum 7 killing you can count is 7, of course, not counting the day master. And so by the time you reach 7 killing, this is already a super vibrant chart. A super vibrant chart is a chart that have all the same elements. Therefore, for you to have 7 Shah altogether, this is a super vibrant chart already. Now, general pattern wasn't a super vibrant chart, but it has a special chart that makes him raise to great power about the same as well. And as usual, 1 is usually enough. Ideally, we just want 1 of everything. Huh? If you see 1 of everything, that is nice. It's beautiful. Huh? But then 1 is enough. Usually that is. So if you see 1 7 killing, then this is officer. Okay, come on. Let's just run through again all that we see. Now let's just now come back with counting. Let's start off with Tony Hawk. So how many 7 killing did you see? How many 7 killing do you see for it? We have 3. Therefore, Tony's Hawk has 3 because it is good. Okay, we do not know the hour, therefore it's not really complete. But based on what we can count, Tony Hawk has 3. Therefore, what do we see by 3? 3, of course, would be Ghost from Prison. Now, actually, Ghost from Prison is a direct transliteration, but in later literature, even in Buddhist literature, Ghost from Prison basically is more like hell on earth, or something like that. Therefore, some torture and punishment. And for those who see 4, that is injuries. Therefore, along the line. And so one recommendation that we can make to Tony Hawk is that he has 3. He has to be very careful in his career because when you participate in such sports, there is always accompanying risk that can come in. Therefore, he has to be very careful to on certain times, certain season, because he has 3 7. So therefore, that in a way you can say that when a person has 7 3, the person is strong and rooted, and strong and rooted normally means that this person will be very engaged in this particular sports for a long time. And of course, when you do this for a long time, you expose yourself to greater risk and injury. So therefore, that goes without saying. Okay, now how about Robbie? How many do you see for Robbie? How many 7 killing do you see? 1. Okay, so 1. 1 is good. 1 would be good, sure. And therefore, here this Robbie may not be as participative as it is. So therefore, I think he's more complex if I join or participate in other activities that we can see here as well. How about this guy here? Well, this guy obviously has also 3. And not just 3, but 2 of them, 2 7 killings, protruded, revealed in the steps. And therefore making this chart very vulnerable because if there's any negative impact, a clash on the stems, then there's a double impact, a clash. Therefore making it even greater risk itself. So therefore that's where we do counting. Okay. Now when it comes to Napoleon Bonaparte, how many 7 killings do we see? 1. 1. So therefore Napoleon Bonaparte has 1. And how many do we see for Yongchen? Emperor Yongchen. We can also see 1. We can also see 1. Right. Therefore, in a way, 1 is nice. 1 is nice. 2, not so bad. But the moment it's 3 or 4, then these are prone to injury type. In a way, they are drawn to take all these high risks. Therefore, 7 killing, there are various versions. Those with 3 or 4 tends to embrace the risk of adventure. They embrace the risk of adventure with the risk of suffering injury all the same. Yeah. And but for those with only one, it only demonstrates officer demonstrates blood. That's what we would like to consider. So for servant killing, it would be something desirable for many to have, because if you have servant killing, you have courage. You have servant killing, you people fear you. People have a sense of fear. They have a sense of respect for you. And when you shout, people listen. When you have servant killing, because you instill fear in them. But of course, as usual, not too many. Not too. And once we come to servant killing representing 5 to 6, it would then represent severe bad luck. Because normally by the time, that means the person is already a follower already. Is already a follower child. And moreover, in addition, servant killing also represents death. So therefore, servant killing is the element that kills the day master. So indicating that health-related issues will be severe by then. So we also have to look into that. Okay, but now let's take a look into what are the key attributes of that servant killing when it is favorable. Of course, as mentioned earlier, we're going to be very quick into this one part. As an officer element attributable to servant killing, of course, that is needed by a person is to be decisive, that the person is so-called energetic, and it is very dynamic, and it has leadership authority. And so CEOs of today, managers, leaders, war generals would welcome servant. However, if servant killing becomes unfavorable, as is too strong, it is domineering, it is a very fierce gangster behavior, impetus, very petty, and very revenge. So if anyone has servant killing, too many of them, it is better to avoid, better not to confront, because they will want to exact their revenge. But with the right balance, one of the things that they do is that they have no respect for the funny thing about servant killing is that they want people to respect the law, but they themselves are above the law. Okay? So they themselves do not obey the law, but they expect other people to obey the law. Sometimes this would be one of the unfavorable elements. And servant killing usually may sacrifice friendship. So they might lose friendship because of their impulsiveness. So anyone with servant killing in them should learn to find ways to be more calm and less impulsive. And less murderous, by the way. That would be very useful as well, yeah? As it is. Now, females, servant killing represents their boyfriend, and therefore now they do represent direct officers. So in a way, females with servant killing, they do get along very well with their male counterpart. As it is. Okay, so now we're going to move on into another part. Okay, I'm going to be very quickly here. For what happens when you have servant killing in the year pillar? Now, once again, traditional Chinese, servant killing in the year pillar means boyfriend very early for the woman. Meeting boyfriend very early means losing virginity. Okay? Therefore, in the days of Mulan, this kind of girls might not be successful in being selected for marriage. So the olden days, they would avoid looking for picking up girls with this part. But today's 21st century, these are different reading, but that's just where the literature goes, as it is. And so servant killing is not favorable during the year pillar. It's considered to be one that attacks your health, and consider that children do not find when they're young, you see, because year pillar means you are young during your childhood, they are considered to be difficult childhood, yeah, or difficult part, especially in education. So hard to learn, not very good in learning, yeah, as it is. Mhm. Now, when it comes to the man pillar, if the day master is strong, fantastic, high reputation. So this is your Napoleon Bonaparte. This is your Emperor Yongchun. That means 7 killing. Man pillar means your structure already. So strong day master welcomes a 7 killing structure that will be very good for that kind of reputation. For weak, then it is about health. Okay, as we move along to the day pillar is your spouse pillar. And therefore, normally for women, it was deemed to be unfavorable to find 7 killing in the day pillar because it represents your spouse. But then here, of course, if the day master themselves are strong, then we find that the spouse is also very competent, very resilient. And chances are the spouse will be the leader or the head of the family, something like that. Now, when it comes to our pillar, for our pillar represents your old age. And therefore, having 7 killing in your old age basically means still needing to work, still needing to focus on your career and under heavy pressure. And 7 killing, of course, in the children's pillar is also indicating that the children are often being pressured by the day master themselves. And if for women chart, 7 killing is boyfriend. So therefore, if they're 7 killing in the old age, they are still very attractive. So they're still very attractive. And the women themselves are also looking out during that period as it is. Therefore, these are where we consider to be those who are difficult to let go of your fame, fortune, and stage. Okay, so this is where we look into the 7 killing in your year, in your month, in your day pillar, and what do they represent for each of them here as well. Okay, for the for the all the 10 gods. Now, I'm sure in our today's modern pop culture literature, you are very familiar with these characters, Superman and Batman. Now, which of these two superhero characters would you consider closer to represent 7 killing? Okay, correct. So 7 killing do not comply with the law. They are not they are not the direct officer, they are the indirect officer. Therefore, they belong to the shadows. 7 killing operates in the shadows. 7 killing vigilante, very strong on revenge. Revenge is very centered to what motivates them, and therefore the Dark Knight, so to speak. So 7K can be symbolizes more towards the Dark Knight. They fight also for justice, and they are. Now, on the other hand, we find that the other character known as Superman is closer to the character of direct officer, right? The champion of justice, clean, honorable, uh, uh, direct. Therefore, this is direct officer. Now, anyway, these are just cartoon characters, just for fun. But the representation here is 7K doesn't like to see direct officer one. These two are officer, no good when you see both of them. Either one or the other. Don't let them have together. If you see them having direct officer an area, this is what we call confusion. So this is called the officer killing confusion. Then you have what we call a split personality, and the person is constantly in a dilemma. And so anyone with direct officer and servant killing are people who find it very hard to make decisions, always see both sides, cannot decide, and they are very inconsistent in their personality then. So, one or the other, we don't like to see both. This is very different. Of all the other 10 gods, this one is the one. Wealth, no. Direct wealth, indirect wealth, both also good. Make money direct, make money indirect. You can make money both ways, no problem. Resource, direct, indirect, also good. But this one, no. Officer, no. Officer, one or the other. Okay, so now, if this is the case, we need to go back now. Go back now to the chart. And when we go to the chart, we need to see whether got direct officer or not. Got direct officer or not. How about Al Capone? Look at the Al Capone's chart. Is there potential direct officer, indirect officer? We got, Okay. So this is where we can say 7K is reviewed. 7K is reviewed. Anything that is on the stand is open to the public, is reviewed. 7K review. But the direct officer is not. So the direct officer is hidden. So Al Capone has a chart that is called 7K review, direct officer hidden. Something like that. How about general pattern? Is general pattern having anything? Is there confusion? Okay. Therefore, also yes. So general pattern would be direct officer review. Direct officer is reviewed. But the 7K is hidden. Therefore, there is a direct officer and servant killing confusion. Yeah. So now we can consider how they manifest their authority. This one has a lot. This one also have. So for this one is direct officer is review. 7K is hidden. 7K is. Or we can have the case of Napoleon Bonaparte, where direct officer and 7K are both hidden. Therefore, they are both. Okay, so how do we interpret this chart now? How do we look into what happens here? How do we read this chart? Okay. So, very simple. When 7K is reviewed and officer is hidden, 7K is then what people appear. So this person appears to be aggressive, appears to be gritty, motivated, and they will go out and do whatever their cause is. However, deep down, they are actually good people. So these are where acting rough but behaving good, acting tough, but actually behaving good and follow the order very well. And while on the other hand, of course, when the direct officer is revealed and 7K is hidden, and then this is where the more dangerous one. Because on the surface, this person looks good and honorable. But on the inside, they are mysterious and they are manipulative and they are cunning. And they are devious and harboring hidden agenda. Therefore, this would represent how we can perceive and read about the chart as a person cunning, manipulative, devious, and others. Right. So in all simplicity, servant killing and direct officer, we don't like to see them. Uh, yes. And if both are hidden, then they have both the personality, and this personality is conflicted. And conflicted means they are prone the dangerous point where they can make conflicting decisions. Correct. If both of them are hidden. That means they have two faces, so to speak. Yeah? All right. So this will be all in all for today. Part one of three parts, where we look into identifying servant killing, what it represents, where they are, their strength, and what happens when servant killing is strong, favorable or unfavorable in a person's chart, and what are the and how this is manifest in the person's life of a servant killing. So in a way, yes, be careful dealing with a person that have both. Be careful with dealing with a person that have both, uh, especially people with servant killing hidden, because servant killing represents cunning, represents a strategist and a plotter. And therefore, if the 7K is hidden, this is them. This is what they do. And usually, of course, now there is which profession do we normally consider direct officer has a fasa, direct officer has a fasa, and seven killing has a structure. Usually, what profession do we consider? Possibly correct. Police. Okay, this guy police very dangerous. This guy police is a very dangerous police. On the surface looks like law-abiding authority, but then on the inside actually working for gangsters or working for the triad society. Politicians, on the face of people you can trust. Lawyer. Okay. Therefore, if anybody has a direct officer FASA and a seven killing structure, then these people you have to be very careful with them, because they will say one thing, do another, Therefore, they will say one thing, They will say one thing, then they will do another. Say one thing, do another thing. These are the people. These are people when we have their fasa. Do one thing and do it. All right. So watch out for this kind of structure, especially when you deal with it. All right. Okay, so that's all that we have for today. Key in your questions, share in the chat. So I will see you next week for part two. Thank you and good night.